Hello everybody, this is the second video documenting my progress trading options with a strategy that I covered in the first video I posted. If you didn't watch that one, you can by clicking the link down in the description. I'll also include a link in the description to a playlist that explains the basics of options trading if you're interested in checking those out. Also, before I go any further, nothing in this video is to be taken as investment advice. This is for educational and or entertainment purposes only. We'll see if it's more educational or entertainment depending on if this is ultimately a successful strategy or not, but more to follow on that. So, how are things going? In a nutshell, they're going exceptionally well as far as the strategy is concerned. These past few weeks have certainly highlighted why I shouldn't be an investor or a typical day trader, though. Yeah, between the last video and this one, I opted to cash out my roughly zero point 0.4 Bitcoin that I had to augment my working capital for this strategy. I had spent a while trying to figure out just how much Bitcoin would need to go up over the next few months in order to outperform the results that I have been getting. Then I determined that would just be highly improbable when cashed out right when Bitcoin was at about 50,000. Literally minutes later, it shot up by 5K and has since risen up to around $70,000 as I'm making this video. So, I mean, basically, if I just held off cashing out by 2 weeks, I would have banked an additional $8,000. So, not too pleased about that. That said, I did basically double the money that I put into it because I'd been holding that Bitcoin for a while, so I'm not exactly coming out at a loss. Just not as much of a win as I would have seen if I'd just waited. All that to just kind of point to the fact that I really have no place trading stocks like most people do. I've spent the last 10 to 12 years off and on trying to trade everything from crypto to Forex, and every single time it ended spectacularly awful. That said, I think I may have cracked the code for trading for me. So, that brings me over to the chart here. You can see right now, on average, I'm sitting at a 2.17% weekly return on investment. I'm also having to roll about 25% of the positions that I enter. Usually only by a week or two, though. So, and you can see it's kind of trending down, so I'm getting better at picking positions to enter. Hadn't really gotten me into any trouble thus far, but, we'll see what happens over time. Now, I do have to say that the return on investment numbers are slightly off here, as they don't take into account the equities that I'm selling covered calls against. But at least for this week, there were only 2 of those, between the 2 of those, one of them got called away from me, which is what I wanted to have happen, since it was that K-View stock that I got assigned based off of trying to use a different strategy for picking stocks. I talked about it in the last video, but that said, I've never had more than 3 or 4 equities throughout this period, so the numbers are going to be generally close. This right here was my attempt to account for that. So what I did is I went in and I manually entered the account values for the start of each week based off of the numbers that the Schwab website gave me. I realized that that's gonna be a little off too, though, because the way that Schwab does their calculation takes into account the current profit and loss of options that you're holding in a way that I don't quite understand. But in the end, I am mainly focused on just the income that I'm receiving from selling puts, and I have to say I'm really quite pleased. Now it's really just a matter of keeping this going, making sure that I don't get any other good ideas and deviate from the strategy, and seeing if if this is just some kind of beginner's luck thing, if I'm on a streak, or if this is going to be a legitimate long-term strategy. Oh, and one other thing to point out on this, you'll note the average return on this is only 1.81%. And that's just based off of the different account numbers, and also because I didn't include the 4.03% return from the first week, just because I don't think that week is really going to be representative of a typical week. So the next part of this experiment is just going to be data collection to see what ends up happening. So what I did is I calculated out what the next 52 weeks should look like based off of the 1.81% weekly profit estimate. So the blue bars over here on the graph represent my weekly predicted account size every week for the next 52 weeks. So I'm going to, I went with the lower of the two estimates because while the calculation is, again, just a little weird, I do think that the return on investment table that I made based off of the Schwab calculated account size is going to be more accurate in the long term. But I'll eventually post a video to update you and let you know what happens as I start filling this out. So the blue bars aren't going to change. There will just be some orange bars that'll appear to just fill things out. So that'll end up looking like, oh, here, let's say if I ended up at 55,000. Oh wait, no, wrong one. Yeah. So that'll end up looking like that. Anyway, that's just what I'm going to be doing. So I'd say I'm probably not going to put out another video until a good portion of this is filled out. I'll probably be putting one out at the, if all goes according to plan, the 34-week mark, because you can see that is where I should be hitting $100,000 account size, which would be, you know, doubling my account from where I am today, which would be really, really cool. On the other hand, if this whole thing ends up going belly up and I just crash and burn and it ends up being a terrible idea, I will post a video about that too, just because, you know, I don't want to be leading anyone astray with a strategy that I know is terrible after the fact. So either way, to whoever's watching this, take it easy, and we'll find out where this journey leads.